What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Creative Universal. In this video podcast, I'm going to be talking about accepting people for who they are. Okay? And this is one of the things that I had to come to terms with in my life. And to be quite honest, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to realize, but it's necessary. If you want to move forward with your life, if you want to have a life of peace, if you want to have a life of prosperity and growth and evolve in your life, this is something that we all have to come to terms with. This is something that we all have to do. And that is accept people for exactly who they are. There's a saying that goes, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. You know, it's oftentimes when we start to ignore our intuition, when we start to doubt ourselves, when we start to neglect the red flags, when we start to paint pictures of people into something that they are not, something that we wish that they were. When we start to see the world with rose-colored glasses and view people on their potential alone, that we end up in trouble. That we end up in a position that we could have avoided, that we end up in situations that didn't even have to come to pass. If we would have simply just accepted that person for who they were in that moment. And sometimes, as I said, it's hard to do when that person is in close proximity to you. We don't just have to do this with friendships. We have to do this with family members. We have to do this with relationships. We have to do this with everybody. Part of life is seeing people for who they are and realizing that we all are made of duality. The world is made of duality, both darkness and light, and sometimes when we come into contact with people, we connect with certain people, we may meet people when they're in their darkest moments, when they're in their lowest, when they're going through some things, when they're in the struggle, when they're in the thick of it, when they're having a hard time. All we can do in those moments is be the light. Be a light in the world that we wish to see. But when we start to analyze them, when we start to question them, when we start to judge them, when we start to, nitpick them and want to change them into something different than what they are, instead of letting them go through what they're going through and grow through it, that's when we start to drag ourselves down. That's when we start to lower our own vibration and we start to get caught up into their negativity and we start to transform into darkness ourselves and we start getting into our shadow, and part of accepting people is protecting yourself, and what I mean by this is, when you accept a person for who they are, you are also protecting yourself because you know how they are and you move accordingly. When you get caught up in trying to say, oh, I wish this person was like this. Why is they like this? They need to do this. They need to do that. That's when you stepping out of your own light. You're stepping out of your own truth and you're getting dragged into something that you really have no business in getting dragged into. So I really just wanted to talk about, accepting people for who they are because, it's crucial. It really is. In order to level up, in order to live a life that is full of peace, that is a part of it, because you're going to have people that come into your life that may be full of drama. You're going to have people in your life that going to come with problems that may be more on the dark side than they are on their light side, but that's life, and as empaths, for my empaths out there, my sensitive souls out there, it can become difficult for us to detach. It can become difficult for us to, realize that there is evil in the world. Everything is not love and light all the time. The reality is there is beauty in this world, but there is also darkness. And if you want to, you know, stay in the light and you want to, um, you know, have peace, you got to be willing to accept that. You got to be willing to accept that and adapt. So I hope that this video was useful. I hope that you enjoyed this little podcast today on accepting people for who they are. If in fact you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening as always, and I'll catch you in the next video.